Okay, so today in math class we looked at the place value chart. We wanted to point out first that the decimal is here. The decimal never moves. And when you put a number in the place value chart, you always have to think where it is in relationship to the decimal. The commas are here, and they also hold place value and have a name, but we're not worried about that right now. We're looking at the decimal. We talked about today putting a number in the place value chart. If you take a number like 3,452 and drop it into the place value chart, you don't want to start over on the left side. You think, where does the decimal go? The decimal would go after the 2, and you build your number on the place value chart just like that, taking into account where the decimal is. Now today's lesson also talked about multiplying by 10 by 100, which is really just 10 times 10, and by 1,000, which is a 10 times another 10 times another 10. We also talked about dividing by these numbers in relationship to the place value chart. When you multiply anything by 10, we discovered today, you move everything over one place on the place value chart. So the 3,452 becomes 34,520. You put that 0, the 2 moved over to here, leaving this spot with nothing in it. You got to fill it with something, so you put a 0 in it, and there's the answer. When you multiplied by 100, if you have my original number, and you multiply 100, 100 has 2 zeros, that's a hint, which is equal to 10, and another multiplied by another 10. So you're moving over 1 for that one place for that 10, and another place for that 10. Move the 3 over 2 places, and keep shifting everything over 2 places on the place value chart. And again, now you got 2 spots sitting there empty. You've got to fill them in with something. You fill them in with zeros. My 3,452 multiplied by 100 is 345,200. You can do the same thing with dividing. And this makes division really easy. 3,452 divided by 10. If you multiply and you shift to the left, when you divide, you're going to shift to the right. Start with the number and just shift everything one place value over. Now, note that the decimal never moves. The number moves in relationship to the decimal. So 3,452 divided by 10 equals 345 and 2/10. Same thing, one last time. Divide by 100. Remember, 100 is just a 10 and another 10. So you're dividing by 10, and then you're dividing by another 10. Divide by 10 and another 10. You're moving over 2 places. And as a hint, that 100 has 2 places. That 4 goes over 2. Everything moves over 2 place values. The decimal never changes. You have 34 and 52 hundredths. Now this comes in handy. Keep in mind tonight when you get a homework problem that looks like this, you're going to be multiplying by 100. Look at those zeros as a hint. 100, when you multiply 100, it's like multiplying by 10 and then multiplying by another 10. Think about how many place values you want to move. Tonight on this homework, I like to just kind of split up my place value chart, drop the original number into the place value chart, multiply by 100. In this case, I'm going to go over 2 place values. Move everything 2 place values. That'll help you when you're doing your homework tonight.
And some of you might be thinking, oh, that makes so much sense. I can do that quickly in my head and just put the answer right here. We don't want you to do that tonight. We want you to use the place value chart so that we can see that you know exactly what it means. Okay, so use that number, the place value chart, and how Mrs. King drew the line in the middle. That's very helpful.
Now you're also on tonight's homework going to get a problem, a word problem, and this one they want you to take 8,912 and looks like multiply it by 1,000. I don't want to see anybody doing any lattice or trying to do traditional multiplication. Use the place value chart that's provided, or draw your own place value chart. Okay, it's just, we want you to think about this as shifting on the place value chart. So you have 8,912. If that's where the decimal would go and you're on a place value chart, I want you to think this in your head. How many places are you moving? And are you moving to the left and you're multiplying by a power of 10? Are you moving to the right where you're dividing by a power of 10? That should help for tonight. If you need any other advice, just come and see us first thing in the morning.
Good luck. Work hard.